Welcome to the first installment in the Best of Kai Greene. This will be a tournament pitting 16 of the best versions of this man against each other. We will have our first matchup, but first, let's introduce these 16 versions. The first matchup will see the 2009 Arnold Classic against the 2009 Grand Prix Australia, and that will be the matchup that we will see today. The second matchup features the 2009 Mr. Olympia version versus the 2010 Arnold Classic Kai Greene. The third matchup features the 2010 Grand Prix Australia against the 2010 Mr. Olympia. The fourth matchup pits the 2011 New York Pro against the 2011 Mr. Olympia version. Let's go over to the other side here. We will see the 2011 Shiru Classic version of Kai Greene versus the 2012 Mr. Olympia. Next matchup will feature the 2012 Shiru Classic versus the 2013 Mr. Olympia. Next match sees the 2013 Pro Prog Championships do battle against the 2014 Mr. Olympia version of Kai Greene. And the final matchup in these brackets, the first round, of course, features the 2016 Arnold Classic against the 2016 Arnold Classic Brazil. So, there are the brackets, and this is our first matchup. The 2009 Arnold Classic versus the 2009 Grand Prix Australia. And right from the get-go, the Arnold Classic version gets the edge here. Much more muscle separation, in my opinion. Has much thinner skin, too. It has a little bit of a distension in the stomach, I believe, in the Grand Prix Australia version. So, 1-0, hold this pose and turn around. And isn't that funny? Seems the muscle separation is superior now in the Grand Prix Australia version. A little bit fuller, perhaps, in the Arnold Classic. Both have fantastic set of glutes. Look at that. Second only to Ronnie Coleman, perhaps. The legs I would give to, I don't know, it's hard to say, really. I was going to say the Arnold Classic. A little bit more separation, I believe, but maybe a little bit larger. Hard to say in this comparison. A little bit inconclusive, a slight edge to the Grand Prix Australia. Now, in the side chest, there is no doubt, and there should be no doubt in anybody's mind who is winning in this one. The Grand Prix Australia is much harder and grainier, and probably just as big. It is hard to say with the display. He is tilted thusly in the Arnold Classic version, and he is probably displaying his pec a little bit better. But one thing that is very plain to see is that great big stomach, what Louis Marco calls the double bubble, triple trouble, double bubble gut. Wow, it is a big one. So there is no doubt, there definitely should be no doubt in anybody's mind. Grand Prix Australia gets a point. It is not quite so cut and dry here in the most muscular pose. Two fantastic versions of this pose by Kai Greene. The abs are much better in the Arnold Classic version, but look at the size difference of the pecs. The Grand Prix Australia pecs are world class. Of course, I notice the arms, the biceps in particular, and the triceps too perhaps, but more so the biceps in the Arnold Classic version. Much better, and perhaps the traps as well. But look at those pecs. My soul, a little bit inconclusive in the most muscular. Unfortunately, the thigh is taken out of the equation in this ab and thigh pose, and that is a little bit disappointing. The Arnold Classic version, in my opinion, has a far better set of abs. Perhaps some distension, less separation in the Grand Prix Australia version. Looks like a little bit better of a V-taper as well in the Arnold Classic. So, an easy point picked up by the Arnold Classic. Unfortunately, this is all we have for a rear double bye on the part of the Grand Prix Australia, and it is disappointing. Because obviously, if I had to choose between these two, Arnold Classic gets it all the way, but it is just not fair, gosh darn it. And this is it. This is the only comparisons that we have. So, we're actually going to have a look at this video footage. And you'll have to excuse, the quality's not the best, of course. Pretty much missed that front double bicep. I would give the front lat spread for sure, no doubt, to the Arnold Classic. He just looks better, more crisp. It is much more evident here. Of course, that side chest definitely went to Grand Prix Australia. And yeah, I would wager to say in the lag department he is definitely winning in that pose, at least. But overall, look at that thin skin of the Arnold Classic. Sorry about the footage there. It was a bugger to keep the camera still on it and keep them the same sizes. Of course, he did not hit the poses in the same order, strangely enough. Here we go. Shot that we missed. And it's pretty even. The lags actually look a little bit better. Arnold Classic. Two good versions. Don't get me wrong. Only one may advance. Lat spread. Very wide. Very good on both parts. The lags, yes, better in the Arnold Classic. I think I am leaning toward that version. No doubt in that pose. There is a little bit of stomach distension. You could tell by the pictures, and the video evidence is there, plain to see. One more pose, most muscular, I believe. Here we go. Two good most musculars. Hand clasped. Much better in the Arnold Classic, that hand clasped. And there you have it. The first version of Kai Greene to advance on will be the 2009 Arnold Classic. The next comparison in these brackets will be a dandy. The 2009 Mr. Olympia version of Kai Greene will do battle against the 2010 Arnold Classic. Like I said, this is going to be a humdinger and one to look forward to for sure. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Have a good day.